Computer mice, they're pretty unexciting. I mean, you can get one with 3 buttons, or if you're feeling really racy, you can get one with as many as 8. You can have a wireless one, or a cabled one like this. These days, you can even get ones that charge wirelessly. In fact, you can have pretty much whatever you want, as long as it's an ugly lump of plastic. Until now, with the launch of the Lunar Artefacts mouse, or pointer instrument as they like to call it. For years, I've always bought cheap cabled mice. The problem with the wireless ones was that I found they always ran out of battery just when I was halfway through preparing some presentation. Still, like everyone, I'd prefer to have less cables cluttering up my desk. Other problems I've had with mice? Well, not many now I come to think of it. Ever since they changed the tracking sensor from a ball, which always used to get gummed up, to an optical system, they just don't really go wrong. I suppose the only real problem is that a lot of optical mice don't work properly on shiny surfaces, which can be a bit of a pain if you find yourself working on a glass-top table. So what can this new mouse offer? Well, I'm not sure if it's the deciding factor in most people's mouse buying decision, but this one does come in a very nice presentation box. Look, this mouse even gets to lie in a felt sleeping bag on its own faux quilted bed. In fact, the instructions for this device are a bit bonkers on that front. They read, "The packaging is normally a disposable part of the product. We find that this can be very wasteful, hence why we want ours to be as useful as possible. The box and the quilted retainer are designed to be reused as a photo frame, sized perfectly for a standard 6x4 or instant wide film." And it goes on to say it can be displayed on a flat surface or even pinned or nailed to your wall. Well, let's give that a go. Here's one I prepared earlier. There we go, a little bit of blue tack and my nice quilted front. And there we go. No, just no. Lunar Artefacts, I think you've misjudged the audience for this product. I mean, nobody I know who would be prepared to spend this much money on a mouse is going to decorate their home with photographs of loved ones in old cardboard boxes. If you want to help reduce waste, feel free to send this thing in a bag made from biodegradable hemp, or just encourage people to recycle the cardboard. But no, I am not nailing this to my wall. But let's have a look at what's in the bag. Here we go. Wow, look at that. That is not your ordinary run-of-the-mill common or garden mouse. It's a beautifully designed thing. In fact, on the Lunar Artefacts website, it uses the sort of flowery design language usually reserved for fine wine. It says the pointer instrument is inspired by the artistry of automotive lines, a pursuit of finding the balance between the flow, tension, organic and engineered. From the haunches of a Corvette Stingray to the intake scoops of a Lotus 72D, bringing together the balance of ornamental functions that make these details timeless. The Corvette Stingray? Yeah, I can just about see that one. But the Lotus 72D intake scoops I'm struggling with a little bit. Still, I love this thing, despite the gushing language and the perhaps slightly misjudged tree-hugging picture frame box. I love the way it's covered in leather, which will assume a unique character with use. I love the contrast stitching, and particularly the little detail cross stitch in the middle. I love the fact that it's made from aluminium, and I like the discreet embossed logo. They do also make a brass one, but I thought it might be a bit too heavy, which is why I went for this aluminium version. And to me, it feels like a good weight. Slightly more substance to it than the usual plastic tat, but not so much that you'd find it at all distracting. The brass one is 75 grams heavier. So what's it like to use? Well, I was in touch with the company before this thing arrived, and they said it might take a little while to get used to the shape in the palm of your hand. But actually not. For me, it felt perfectly comfortable straight out of the box. The only one little thing you might notice is the way that your right pinky sits just underneath the right wing, or Corvette haunch if that's your thing. You might find the slight pressure on your finger a little bit distracting until you get used to it. As a mouse, there isn't really much to say except that it works as expected. Look, if you move it right along your desk, you'll find the cursor moves right too. It's not groundbreaking. The Lunar Artefacts mouse can connect to your computer via Bluetooth with a supplied cable or using a USB dongle that's stored in the base. On top of that, it can also charge wirelessly, and it works on glass and other shiny surfaces too. Surprisingly well, actually. The last thing that Lunar Artefacts makes quite a big deal about is the way that this mouse is built to last. The moving parts, like the scroll wheel and the buttons, are easily replaced. Now, I was going to say that longevity isn't really a quality I tend to look for in a mouse. This cheap thing here has probably given me 5 to 10 years trouble-free service, and it shows no sign of stopping anytime soon. And anyway, even if it does, well, it only cost me a £5. And that's the point, really. I wouldn't buy a mouse because it's designed to last. But if I bought an expensive one like this, then yes, I want to know it isn't going to be obsolete or irreparable tomorrow. And actually, I do like the example it sets other manufacturers. So there we have it. At the time of making this film, you could spend anywhere up to about £100 on a horrible plastic mouse. Or you could spend nearly double that, but for which you'll get something beautifully designed, built to last, and uniquely personal to you. And let's not forget, you also get a picture frame thrown in too. If you know anyone who uses a computer, you might like to share this with them. Otherwise, till the next time, I've been Arlo Guthrie. Bye-bye.